Greetings all, and welcome to Dual-Wielder's Writing Debugging, where I break down writing tips and tactics into bite-sized chunks to help you improve your own writing. In this entry, let's examine the difference between static and dynamic characters. First, let's look at what a static character is. A static character is one who doesn't change in any major way over the course of the narrative. Their personality and beliefs will remain the same at the end as they were at the beginning. Oftentimes, static characters tend to be secondary or tertiary characters who don't receive as much attention as the protagonist. After all, you only have so much screen or page time, and so the majority of the development should be given to the more prominent characters. Now, this doesn't necessarily make a static character poorly written. Depending on the genre of your work and the nature of your story, your character may not need to change much. An example of a static protagonist working well would be the Master Chief from Halo. Note that I'm talking about the real Halo games, not 343's Abominations. Chief isn't devoid of characteristics. He just shows them more through body language than through dialogue. He feels grief over fallen Marines, displays quiet, witty humor from time to time, and loyalty towards comrades. Some might say that his acceptance of the elites would disqualify him from being a static character, but that isn't the case. That was merely acknowledging an alliance. His major personality traits are unaltered. Chief didn't need to change as a character over the course of the Halo trilogy. He's been a soldier since childhood, and his objectives don't change. Only the scale. Defend humanity, first from the Covenant, and then the Flood. He never needed to change. An example of a static character being done poorly would be Aragon from the Inheritance cycle. Forgive me for not using footage, but I'm not going to insult you, dear viewer, by displaying that film. Aragon is the protagonist of these 4 novels, but he doesn't undergo any substantial change. Despite all the events of the story, he's pretty much the same person he was at the beginning, just more powerful. His values don't change, he doesn't question philosophy for more than a short while, and in general, just doesn't have as much growth as a person as he really should. But dynamic characters are the opposite of static characters. They undergo significant change over the course of their story, and come out on the other side quite different from the person they were before. Back to Halo, the Arbiter is an example of a dynamic character done well. When he's first introduced in Halo 2, it's shown that he was the commander of the Covenant forces you fought against as Chief during the first game. At this point, he's fully indoctrinated by the Covenant's religion, blindly following the prophets and fully believing that humanity is a plague that needs to be eradicated, and that the Halo rings will initiate the Great Journey and grant the Covenant godhood.
I will continue my campaign against the humans.
But over the course of the game, he's confronted several times by evidence that proves that their religion is built on a lie. First, he encounters the heretics, who have been made aware by 343 Guilty Spark that the Halos are simply weapons, not divine relics. Then the Gravemind also declares as much, and you can see him visibly stop his struggle as this monstrosity echoes the sentiment he heard from the heretics. And even 2401 Penitent Tangent confirms this as well. This all sits in his mind as his race is betrayed by the prophets, and many are shot in the back by the brutes as the Prophet of Truth orders their execution. He then takes a massive step as a character by agreeing to an alliance with Sergeant Johnson to stop Tartarus from firing Installation 05. Now, not only is he attempting to halt the beginning of the Covenant's supposed Great Journey, but he fights alongside a human, whose species he had once considered to be vermin infesting the galaxy that needed to be exterminated. 343 Guilty Spark confirms to him that everything he had been living was false, and the Arbiter grows as a character by cementing the Human Elite Alliance through Halo 3, even befriending the Chief. This is why I personally prefer the Arbiter to Chief, but that's just my subjectivity.
Betrayed one villain for another.
To see when a dynamic character is done poorly, just look at how 343 Industries has tried to handle Master Chief. They tried to instantly shift him from a static character to a dynamic one, which simply isn't what he was designed to be. Chief was purposely crafted to be a static character, a solid and stoic defender of humanity and its allies. This is why it's so jarring when he constantly speaks in subsequent installments, and he doesn't feel like Chief. Chief is meant for simple stories, not tales of emotional complexity. Simple stories are not bad stories, just ones that don't need as many facets as other narratives. This is a major reason why 343's games don't mesh with the original ones. They try to make the story more complex than it needs to be. So in short, when you're crafting your story, keep in mind what each character goes through, the nature of their story, and how much time we'll see of them to determine whether they should function as a static or dynamic character. But are your favorite characters static or dynamic ones? Leave your thoughts in the comments below, and leave a like if you're so inclined, and subscribe to see more. And may you all have a weapon in each hand.